Swamiji, another question related to Gita. What is karma? If I ask you to put it very simply, because again that is another thing. I think there's a lot of ambiguity globally. People are using this word these days. Karma, karma. Everybody, even little kids say that this is your karma. I don't think everybody really understands what it means. So if you could just simply tell it to our viewers.
Yeah, everybody is saying I love you.
Yeah, I love the t-shirt, I love the house, it's like that, I think.
Whatever. Everybody's saying I love you, I love him, I love that.
Correct.
I mean, not necessarily people understand the word.
Correct.
It's just we're using words. And when you use words without understanding them, you're actually abusing them.
I agree.
So, what happens is here, by the word karma, we necessarily mean an action. Okay? An action. So the action could be generated by your body, it could be generated by your speech, or it could be a mental action. Okay? So you have these three equipments with which actions become possible. That what is through the speech and through the body is manifest. That which is through the mind is unmanifest.
Okay.
When does an action become karma? When does the kriya become karma? Mm-hmm. And this line is wherever there is a presence of ownership of the action, saying that I am the doer, then it becomes karma. So now that action is bound to bring its result. Okay? Every action is...
Meaning every time I attach myself to it, it becomes...
Obviously.
Oh.
Only then it becomes a karma. Otherwise this fan is rotating. There is an activity happening, but it is not karma.
Correct.
If that fan makes you comfortable, the fan is not gaining any punya.
Correct.
Or if you are becoming uncomfortable, the fan is not incurring any sin.
Mm-hmm.
But you saying something and someone becoming comfortable, you saying something and then somebody becoming dukkhi, papa and punya comes.
So then if this is true, then I don't even want to do punya, because then it's going to get me again, even if I'm doing punya, it is karma, and then it is getting me into that cycle of...
Of course, it becomes a cycle. But you should also know that punya brings you the result of joys, the joys that you experience now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And papa brings you the result of dukkha, which we have. No, a person cannot escape because you are in a constant flux of this action. Okay? So if you are going to say, well, since I want to escape, I am not going to do anything, I am not doing itself becomes some doing.
Oh my God.
You see?
Yeah.
So there is no escape from karma.
Wow.
There is no escape from karma, and karma will continue as long as there is doership existing, the ego exists.
Then how do we break it? Break the cycle?
Break the cycle there is only one way, and that is by knowing the nature of the self. As long as you are going to see the meaning of the word I as this limited entity who is a doer and an experiencer, karta and bhokta, till then this karma is applicable. The law of karma is also applicable. Doing punya brings sukham, doing papa brings dukkha. Is going to be applicable to you and me. But the moment one understands that the meaning of word I is not karta bhokta, but the meaning of word I is consciousness, which is the very substratum of this entire universe. So at this moment your understanding is that I am a part, a small little thing existing in the world. And when the knowledge dawns, it comes as I am not this small little entity in this universe, but this universe is a small little speck that appears in this consciousness that I am. Now, where is the place for any worship? That worship is washed away in wake of this knowledge, and therefore, in knowledge, there is liberation.
Wow. But Swamiji, why do we always hear this, पिछले जन्म का पाप होगा, then why या पुण्य होगा? Why everything doesn't settle in one life? Why we have to carry it forward?
Because
why some people are doing such bad things?
Because
and
not
still
everything
happy?
can be experienced in one life. You may have, let us take an extreme example, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this example becomes a little poignant one and easy to understand, so it will take the point home.
Mm-hmm.
A person sets fire to a cowshed and the 10 cows die. The pain of death that he has inflicted on those 10 living beings. Now, even if that person dies, one death, one painful death, it is one the justice is not served.
Oh.
So he needs to experience the pain of 9 more deaths, the suffering of 9 more deaths, the fear that comes when death approaches. This pain he has. So even if a person is served in a death sentence for killing hundreds of people, you are not really doing justice. And therefore, in existence, by the law of this existence, justice has to be served.
But then till that point, they seem to be having a good time.
So it is something of their past life.
Maybe.
It is not because he has murdered, he is having good time. It is not because he has murdered someone in this life and hence he is having good time. It is because something from the past which he had done good is still there giving him the fruits. And hence he is not getting caught, he is not going behind jail or something like that. So it's, Shri Krishna himself says, Gahana Karmano Gati, which means the way karma navigates itself to bring the results to you, to each person, is a very difficult thing. It is Gahana, it is extremely complicated way. It is very, very complicated thing. Just to make this point a little easier to understand, can I tell you a story?
Of course.
I don't know, this is just a story, but it makes a point clear. So on a stormy night, there is an old lady and her grandson. And this poor woman and this little boy had to cross over the forest to reach the other side of the forest to the next town. But having got caught up in a stormy night, they had to take shelter in a hut which was so dilapidated, but it just provided them a little place to sit under that roof till that storm subsided. And as they were waiting, one by one people, the passerbys, started coming in, and the rain, the storm, the thunders and the lightning just kept on increasing, so much so that the lightnings kept falling all around the hut. All around the hut. So by the olden standards, these people said that perhaps this lightning is coming to kill one of us, and therefore it will not stop till it happens. So they said that for the safety of others, one has to try. So other 10 people who had gathered over there, one by one they went out and it didn't hit. So the turn came to this old woman and this little boy, and they said, "You are the culprit," and they kicked her out. The moment they threw this old woman out, the lightning struck that hut and killed the rest of the 10. How did these all 10 people come together? They had to die getting struck with a lightning. And this is how the karma works, brought them together that much. So it's a very complicated.
It is.
It is a very complicated way in which the karma brings the fruits to you. Instead of wanting to know how does the karma operate, it is better to know that since karma operates, let me be very alert and cautious. Let me do my karma, let me do the actions very consciously. Let my actions not create suffering, but let my actions create harmony.
Now that you told the story, the first thing that comes to my mind is it was destined then that the 10 people would die this way. So then is life predestined?
Karma, but what you call as destiny is also the karma phala. So by the very virtue of word karma phala, which means it is something that you have created through your own karma. So though there is destiny, but that destiny is not will of God, some fancy of some whim and fancy of some God, but it is something that one consciously, as in conscious being, has created. And since you have created, you also have the power to alter it. And therefore there is concept of purushartha. Because that what has come to you as destiny, as prarabdha today, is also the purushartha which you had done previously. So by word destiny, we do not mean that it is fatalistic.
Or somebody is actually sitting and writing.
Why does God have got to do some strange things like that? If there is a God who's just planning things for you, I feel that God has got nothing else. I mean, very, very silly God. And this is the reason why, in Vedikas, the Purva Mimamsakas don't even have a concept of God who is creating your destiny. They say it is karma. You are either doing punya or papa, and this punya papa comes to you later on as sukha dukkha, as the karma phala.
And then there is no heaven or hell?
Of course, there is heaven and hell, means there could be everything.
But here, right?
Depending upon how the karma phala is. If something can be experienced by you in the present frame of body, you will get it. But if it cannot be experienced in this frame of body, it will come later, in a different frame, in a different level of existence. That's all that the Shastra says.
Oh.
So we are not saying that there is no heaven and hell. We are saying there is. But it is all karma phala.